if kita tengok implementation pada 3 tahun sebelum ni, sebelum PKP, waktu PKP memang agak-agak slow sedikit dekat kita punya fakulti sebab project based learning ni mostly dia lagi better untuk kita run on the face to face punya cara, sebab mereka kena buat projek, tak kisahlah projek apa, projek community ke, projek bersama industri ke, lepas tu projek menghasilkan satu produk ke. So as long as kita katakan kita nampak produk tersebut, it's a tangible product. So benda-benda tu kita kurang waktu. Tapi sebelum PKP tu alhamdulillah kita tengok macam mana banyak sangat projek yang dihasilkan oleh pensyarah-pensyarah yang dalam kumpulan projek based learning ni. Dan saya harapkan selepas ini kita dah boleh buat kembali kepada face to face dan kita kembali boleh berjalan bersama-sama dengan komuniti, dengan industri, dan saya harap kita punya projek based learning ni boleh terus maju dan juga lebih ramai lagi pensyarah untuk mengaplikasikan projek based learning, kerana saya nampak benda ni lastly dia akan membantu pelajar untuk menjadikan kata suasana pembelajaran itu lebih menarik and kata experience yang baru kepada pelajar and also kepada kita sendiri sebagai pendidik. Saya rasa itu sahaja, saya tak nak panjang. Terima kasih. Jadi saya ucapkan selamat maju jaya lah kepada SGL ni untuk kata berwebinar. That's all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hair. That was very good. And I think the gist of what Dr. Hair has said just now, so project-based learning is basically the application and appreciation of the knowledge gained by the students, right? So this is wonderful, right? Okay, so Alhamdulillah. So today kita dah dengar tadi ucapan aluan Dr. Fauzi and also I can see a summary by Dr. here. So today we will have this session into two parts. So the first part kita akan we will listen to presentations by the educators, the experts on their experience in implementing project-based learning approach in their teaching, right? So let us not waste any time. To begin with, I would like to invite Dr. Shanti to share her experience in the implementation of the project-based learning approach in her classrooms. Okay.
I'm sorry. Can we have a group photo session before Dr. Hare leave and everyone else will? Dr. Fauzi left already, so that
Okay,
can record the memory, the moment.
Sorry.
No problem. Sorry. Maybe we can ask everyone to switch on your camera. You can see those beautiful and handsome faces. Say cheese. One more, we have another screen. All right, thank you very much. Okay, Nora, go ahead.
Okay, as I have mentioned just now, so we would like to invite Dr. Shanti to share her experience in the implementation of project-based learning in her classroom. Dr. Shanti, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, is it because I'm the first left corner kat atas tu that I have to go first? Okay, I mean it's a sharing session, making it more informal. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Prof. Zaida. Thank you for being here today. I just want to say good afternoon to everyone and let's get started. Okay, so my experience with project based, I will just share a few slides. Tak ada maklumat banyak. Just say what I do in my class so that everyone will understand. I share screen, yeah? Okay. Okay, basically kan, for me project-based learning ni, what does it mean? And why have I used it in my class? What I think, picking up on the points that was mentioned just now on making it real world experience, making it authentic. So that those are the keywords that I will be mentioning, because what project-based learning is for me is students are given projects or challenges, to look into real problems. So here my class is syllabus and materials design for the TESOL and TESOL group. So then this is what I basically do with them. I will just explain it briefly. The class is MPPZ 1303, syllabus and materials design. Okay, dah hilang. I don't know what happened. So, okay, kejap okay. So there are two assignments or projects, The big project, they are interrelated. The first one is we look at the ELT textbook, English language teaching textbook, and the students are supposed to evaluate the current textbook that they use in the classroom. So that means they look at so my teaching mainly focuses on what students come with. That's very important for me. We cannot say that they don't come with any knowledge or skills or experience. So I base everything that I do on their existing knowledge, and then I build on from there. So the first assignment or part of the project, the first task is for them to evaluate a book that they are using in class, the English language teaching textbook. And prior to the assignment, I would give them lectures and we have discussions, forums and everything about current English language textbooks. So when I have these lectures and so on, we look at issues and concerns related to current textbooks that we are using in our Malaysian schools. Or if I had a group, in the past, I've had students from other countries, Afghanistan and China and Indonesia and so on. So then I asked them to use the textbook that they are familiar with, that they have used in class or they are familiar with from back in school or something. And then based on that, we go about evaluating the textbook. That will be the first part of their project. And then once they've evaluated the textbook, they will have to come up with an understanding of what are the pros and cons, what are the weaknesses and strengths of the textbook. And then the next part of the project requires them as teachers who are now informed about what the textbook is, how it is designed, what are the key aspects that could be improved, and they come up with their own materials. And that will be the second part of the project. So now how does this relate to project based? Okay, so okay, so tak ada slides lagi, don't worry, I don't have long lengthy slides. So that's it. Basically, syllabus and materials design, we have two parts. First part requires students to evaluate the current textbooks that they use. And the second part is where they look at the strengths and weaknesses and they talk about what they've identified, and then they come up with materials. Either they design or adapt, or there's steps in designing or adapting. So they use that knowledge to improve on the textbook. So now how does this make it a project-based task? It is real world because they are all used to this textbook. And then the challenges are real because I've exposed them to what research has shared about our Malaysian current textbooks, CFR textbooks, for example, used in schools. For example, it's culturally insensitive. That's what research has shown. Now, when students evaluate the textbook, they look into that. So these are teachers, these students are TESOL teachers. So they know they are also involved in textbook. But one thing I've learned is, although teachers use this textbook, they've never been involved in the process of selection or in determining what textbook is being used, or even to have an idea that they can actually become textbook writers. So what I expose them to in this class is to make them, create an awareness that as teachers, they can know more about the textbooks. So and they tell me after the class that once they've gone through my class, the next time they look at a textbook, they look at it differently because they never knew that we have criteria for textbook evaluation. or that there are steps. We cannot just simply choose online text and say this is looks interesting, I'll use it in my class, because they haven't evaluated the material. They cannot just use it in the class. So this is real world experience. It also involves their own personal experience as teachers. It also gives them authentic tasks. That means although they do it in my class, they can actually do it as teachers as well. So that's authentic. So I just want to mention that Piaget actually said knowledge is a consequence of experience. So in my class, in the project-based approach that I use, it's all about experience, and it's all about enhancing that experience through the new knowledge as well as their existing knowledge that they come with. So dah lah cukup. I think that's basically what I do in my class. Thank you so much. Okay.
You're welcome, Dr. Shanti. Very interesting. Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure teachers out there would want to know more, right? Because they are very much involved in using the textbook. Yeah, and this is great. This is great. This is something very real. Now we listen to so many qualms, yeah, and complaints on Facebook that parents are talking about textbooks, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Shanti.
Thank you. Thank
Right?
you.
Yeah, and now let us listen to Dr. Irene. Okay, Dr. Irene.
Yes, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Let me just share my slides. Kejap, yeah. Hmm. Let me just. Okay, very quickly, we don't have a lot of time. Let me just start. Okay, basically, the project-based learning that I apply is in the Theorizing Digital Culture course, which is part of the Masters of Language in Communication and Digital Culture program. So this is a postgraduate level course. It is one of the core courses offered for this Masters Thought Course program. It is a 3-credit course, and for the assessment, this course is 100% coursework-based assessment. We do not have final exam. And as you can see, the project work, which is the project-based learning implemented project, carries 65%. Just referring to what Dr. Khair mentioned, that a project-based learning project basically is a big project. So it definitely is a big project in this particular course because it integrates all the learning that has taken place in the course, and I hope that they will be able to implement it in this particular project. All right, so basically the project that I have for this particular course is a mini ethnographic project, all right? Students are required to participate in a 3D virtual world. Two of the ones that I suggest to students that they can conduct the ethnographic study is in Second Life or Avakin Life. So basically, this is a 3D virtual world where participants go in and then they have their own avatar. And during this ethnographic study that they conduct, it is actually a mini ethnographic study. Students actually observe what happens in this mini virtual world, and they try to decide what kind of focus the study will take. So they can reflect on the teaching that I have included in this particular course. They look at gender issues, racial issues, stereotype issues, because these are some of the topics covered in my course, and identity construction issues. So basically, they can pursue whatever focus that they feel and passionate about, and they have the freedom to choose in this particular project. So basically, the project report is 30%. We also have consultation because students really need to be guided. That's 10%. They do a reflective journal, that's 10%, and also a presentation, which is 15% at the end. So basically what are the elements of project-based learning that I have integrated in this particular project? It is definitely an active exploration of the real world. So students conduct a mini ethnographic study where they engage uh, with real people on the internet, which can be quite scary as well, because students will be meeting people from different backgrounds. They can be from South Africa, America, Canada, Australia, you name it, because it is actually a virtual community. Uh, they they also it is also personally meaningful because I allow the students to actually focus on issues that they find important to them. So it's something that they are passionate about. Finally, another thing which I think that I am able to integrate in this particular course is reflections. Students actually uh, reflect on the practices or on their journey to conduct this particular project by keeping a reflective journal of all their experiences. So basically, although it may not tick all the boxes for project-based learning, but I think these are the three main things or three main elements of project-based learning that I'm able to integrate for this particular course. I think that's 4 minutes. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Irene. Right? Very
Let me stop sharing first. I can't find the button to stop sharing. Okay, and I think end show first, and then uh, hang on, moderator, stop sharing. Okay.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, Dr. Irene. I think I will want to be in your class. Right, very interesting. Okay, thank you very much. And next, we would like to invite Puan Ramona to share her experience.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to share my slides. All right. So the point is here in my project, the one that I conducted. So we question ourselves, can community project enhance students' learning? So by the end of it, you will see whether it really enhance students' learning. Oops. Okay. All right. So this course actually is ULAB quadruple 2 communication skill. It is the third English after the 2 Englishes that they have to complete. Then only they successfully will complete this particular English. So considered as the final English of the 3 Englishes, right? So in this particular class or in this particular course, what they have to do, they have to somehow integrate, or shall I say, work on a community-based project. So this particular project is somehow conducted from the beginning of the semester till the end of the semester. It's more or less like, you can say, 3 months duration, right? So it takes more than I would say, if you could recall what Dr. Harry mentioned just now, Dr. Hare mentioned just now, sorry. So it is a long duration whereby you have to complete the project, right? So they have to engage in the community project, therefore, then that's all about the project that they have to do in terms of this particular course. Okay. Now, okay, why is it so? Okay. For this particular course, as a matter of fact, you have several objectives actually, but the one that I really enhance or enforce that the students try to accomplish would be, one thing for sure, they should be able to enhance their communication skill, right? Self-confidence, not to mention the civic responsibility and team working spirit, because they're gonna work in the team or in the group of 4, right? So let me just share very quickly the methodology that I have in order to conduct my, how I conduct my course in this particular class. Right, first and foremost, they need to identify the target group. right? So the target group would be, I usually ask them to identify at least 2 target groups. Therefore, if let's say one target group, decline their proposal in having the project done over there, so they have another target group. So the target group would be the moment they know which the group or the community that they would like to work on. So they work on the analysis. What are the community needs or what are the problem that they are facing? From there, then only they work on the project. Okay, they tailor-made that particular project based on the problem, the actual problem faced by that particular target group or the community itself, right? So this is definitely authentic, right? So based on those needs analysis, then they come up with a proposal, right? The proposal going to be in 2 forms. One in the form of hard copy, a handout, right? That they're going to present it to, they're going to give it to the uh, PIC, person in charge of that community, as well as a slides presentation, whereby in this particular slide presentation, they're going to prepare that slide in order to ask for sponsorship, as well as presenting it to the person in charge, whether it is somehow agreeable with what they have proposed or not, right? So in this particular project, these students have to organize their fundraising on their own, right? So they are not given any started seed money or anything. So they have to organize how they can somehow raise their own fund. They can do their crowdfunding. They can find sponsors in terms of in kind, banner bunting, or probably even meal, right? So these are the ways they will learn how to go about. Even one student somehow, they learn he learns marketing skill online, and he somehow apply that particular skill when he somehow look for sponsorship. Believe it or not, these particular students managed to find 2,000 worth Malaysian ringgit of in kind. So it included the meal, the breakfast, the lunch, and whatnot. So I have never thought that it's gonna happen that way, but he applied that knowledge, and he somehow was so overwhelmed when he was the one who somehow got the sponsorship, the highest sponsorship among all the groups. Okay, next. Present the proposal. Yes, they have to present the proposal in front of everyone, including me. So they have a panel of inquiry. The panel of inquiry will be another group, the one that will be asking or somehow giving a suggestion, or probably criticize why is it so, why do you have it over there, that going to incur cost, they're going to in terms of lodging, in terms of transport, and then they have to answer. So the purpose of having this panel inquiry is to make that particular project much better, right? But most likely they did not see it from different angles. So this panel of inquiry would somehow make that particular project, or see the other aspects that this group might not see it, right? Okay, next. Very quickly, and then they have to write reflection paper 1. The reflection paper 1 would be what they experienced starting the first day of class until the day of execution of the project, before the execution of the project, right? And then they execute the project, and then after they execute the project, they have to present a final report, oral presentation, right? So in that particular report, they have to include also what are the challenges that they have overcome, and how did they overcome those challenges, right? What they have learned. So those need to be included in their final report. Based on the second reflection paper that they have to submit, it will be whatever that they experience on the day itself, okay, the execution of the project, and whatever that they have learned personally, because this is done individually. So they have to mention about what they have learned during the whole duration of that project. Personally, what they learn about themselves, things that they have discovered, something which is not, they have something that they didn't even expect, the other side of himself or herself, right? So last but not least, they evaluate, they got the chance to evaluate their group members. because no doubt we can always say that there is always someone who are like pembonceng gratis or the sleeping partner. So they got the chance to evaluate not just themselves, they evaluate their friends too. So from there we can somehow see whether the team working spirit that they have in that particular group really work or not, right? So these are the assessment, right, that they have for that particular project. So it reached from the beginning of the semester until the end of the semester. And I think this particular course is really fruitful. I believe that this particular course prepare the students to be or to have the DNA of UTM student. Not only they become an all-rounder, they learn everything based on that experience, whatever they have learned based on that 2 Englishes before, they learn how to apply for the sponsorship, they send letters, they use all those information, they learn how to talk to the others, may them be in whatever situation, whether it's informal or formal, and no matter what group of age. So they learn the communication skills. So it's not just Malay, it's not just English, some other subject, some other languages too, but basically it's communication skill. Okay, I think I have exceeded the time. Thank you very much. All right, let me stop sharing.
Thank you very much, Puan Ramona. Right. Now we shall listen to Dr. Zuhana.
Okay, let me share my slides.
Okay.
Sekejap ya. Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all my friends. Today saya nak share tentang saya punya apa tu yang saya panggil project academic paper. Yeah, it's actually a subject, one of the subjects in English language courses, yeah, for undergraduates. Yeah. Okay, so sedikit background information on the project that I've done with my students. So as I mentioned just now, it's actually a subject, one of the second level of the English subjects for the undergraduates, yeah, yang dinamakan Advanced Academic English. Yeah, so Advanced Academic English ini, the focus of the subject is on academic writing. Yeah, so for the academic writing, they at the end of the semester they're supposed to come up with an like a term paper, yeah, a term paper which consists of about like 5 to 8 pages. Okay. Initially, when I look at the what motivates me to integrate project-based learning in this subject is because when it comes to academic writing, sometimes dia boleh menjadi satu aktiviti yang agak berat, ya, dan mungkin boleh menjadi membosankan. Okay, so when I look at this the course information, I feel that I could make it more meaningful. So the reason why I change it to I embed some project based tu adalah untuk make the subject more meaningful for the students. Okay, so dia punya first stage dia adalah for the academic writing, they only need to collect about 8 articles, yeah, related to the topic, and topik itu saya memang encourage them to choose something that involve real life situation. Okay, so so the students at that point of time dia buat dia punya topik dia on homeless people, yeah. Which one is better, using public transport or using personal or private transport. Okay, so I encourage that, yes, but dia actually on the argumentative paper or problem solution paper. Right. So instead of just looking for the secondary sources, yeah, so I encourage them to come up with the primary data resources, yeah. So for the primary data resources, I encourage them to go out, yeah, to go out of the classroom, visit the site, so they can either interview the people related to the topic, they can do survey, they can do observation, and if they visit the site, they can take some photos and put it as part of their academic paper. Okay, so next. Okay, so one of the best thing about this particular subject yang kita buat project is we can enhance the 21st century skills. As we all know, dia ada critical thinking. Apa yang involved in the critical thinking is the evaluation of the articles. This is the opportunity that I take to teach them on information search or information literacy skills, okay, where they can write a critical academic paper. Okay, creativity is up to them how they want to design the project. Okay, they can choose how they want to collect the data. They can go out and meet the people. Ada yang pergi when they choose a topic, which one is better, public transport or private transport, they actually, I kata, why don't you go out, you test it out yourself. You experience it yourself, yeah. So they all put it lah, ambil commuter and everything, yeah. And then I think you must select from one point to another point. Kalau you naik kereta pun from one point to another point. So that's how they actually experience it, yeah. So that the paper becomes more meaningful to them. Okay, collaboration, they have to plan their project, yeah. From the beginning, fieldwork, they have to choose what they want to do. And then is this one also encourage them to engage in the project management, yeah. And then for communication, we do a lot of presentation. Dia present dia punya planning dia, present dia punya timeline dia, present anything on the articles that they have chosen. So they do a lot of speaking activities in the classroom. Okay, so besides planning the project, I made sure they injected the 21st century skills in the classrooms as well. Okay, ini adalah some of the photos that we took. This is like kita ada buat poster presentation. Okay, and I invited some of our friends, lecturers untuk judge dia punya, to be the judge of their project. Okay, dia boleh bagi markah lah. Okay, and the bottom photo is where they do the information search, yeah, session. Okay. So all right, so these are the PGBL stages. First, they plan, set up the timeline, yeah, and then they do the information search, yeah, they collect the secondary data related to their topic. Their primary data they collect, they have to go out, do some field trip or field work, and then prepare their academic writing, put in the extra information in the paper, and then they do poster presentation before they submit their writing, ya, their term paper. Okay, itu sajalah yang saya buat for my class, ya, for the academic writing classes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Zohana. Very interesting. Yeah, and I think project-based learning ni memang sangat-sangat menarik sebab dia involve the real world problem, right? And then they learn a lot, yeah, especially in terms of communication, right?
One of the group yang buat on homeless people, they went to visit the rumah gelandangan di kat mana tu ya, Puan Nora, yang dekat Jalan Pahang tu.
In Chapkit,
somewhere there they went to visit and they interview the people yang stay dekat situ. So they all memang cakap they actually learn something lah, you know, they understand the homeless people better, you know. So I'm glad lah that they actually do that.
Okay, very good, right? Okay, thank you, Dr. Zohana. So let's hear from Dr. Irmawati. Dr. Irmawati Nurazman.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, moderator, Madam Nora. Okay, and Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all the virtual audience. Okay, so for my part, I share my slide. Cancel first. Okay, untuk PGBL ni saya conduct untuk one of our courses in UG punya program iaitu Instructional Design. So untuk pelajar HRD sebagai salah satu specialization punya course, dan untuk pelajar psikologi dia adalah salah satu minor course. So untuk pelajar sharp mereka akan mengambil kursus ini. Dan boleh saya share juga kumpulan kami telah pun semasa tahun lepas 2021 kita ada involve satu competition iaitu International Innovation Competition untuk Innovation in Education and Teaching. So kita ambil PGBL ini sebagai satu innovation dan kita buat sesuai dengan era pandemik. So demo kepada online punya lah. Dan kita menang bronze, menang tempat ketiga, dan ada jugalah untuk yang blended learning. I do believe that everybody have a award for blended learning. So just nak share sahaja. Dan kemudian untuk subjek instructional design ni sebenarnya kita dia punya produk adalah training module. Dan dia punya duration adalah dalam tempoh 10 hingga 11 minggu. Dan dia start dengan pelajar dia conduct need assessment ataupun training need analysis. Dia akan pergi kepada satu company, satu group, dan kemudian dia akan cari satu job position di mana job position itu akan ada mengenai pasti the actual problem, performance problem. Kalau kita nampak tadi Madam Ramona dia pergi kepada community needs ataupun community problem, right? Am I right? Okay, kalau saya kita pergi kepada performance problems dekat dalam di tempat kerja, at the workplace. So nanti pelajar dia akan conduct TNA dan akan come out dengan analysis, dan kemudian mereka membuat item-item soalan berdasarkan kepada job description untuk job position, for example supervisor. So dia akan lihat job description supervisor dan at least dia buat 10 item, dan kemudian mereka bincang dalam kumpulan dan mereka akan bagi kepada saya untuk saya semak. Saya semak item-item tersebut relevan ataupun tidak, betul ataupun tidak. So nanti daripada item-item tersebut mereka akan pilih which part yang task ataupun dia punya kerja yang pekerja tidak dapat handle ataupun kurang dia punya skill. So dekat situ nanti kita akan propose kepada HRD intervention. Maksudnya salah satu daripada HRD punya solution adalah kita provide training. So bila tahu training apa, barulah kita design and develop training module itu sendiri. Alright, so ini adalah contoh-contoh lah pelajar akan pergi kepada step yang seterusnya, iaitu step untuk identify learner profile, kemudian dia analyse characteristic of work setting, kemudian dia buat content analysis, tajuk apa yang sesuai untuk program tersebut, kemudian dia punya delivery method ataupun instructional strategy. So daripada 10 step ni, saya combinekan beberapa step menjadi 7 step. At the end nanti mereka akan conduct mock training. So during the pandemic mereka membuat online mock training. Dan adalah beberapa cabaran kita akan kongsi nanti, dan biasanya sebelum dan sekarang ni kita ke arah untuk membuat physical mock training. So semasa mereka buat mock training, mereka akan invite the real respondent, at least ada representative ataupun wakil. Macam mungkin 2 orang ataupun 3 orang. So nanti wakil tersebut akan join di dalam mock training tersebut, dan kemudian mock training itu pun adalah salah satu daripada bentuk assessment kepada training module itu. Maksudnya training module itu not finalized yet, belum lagi yang sebetulnya, tetapi nanti berdasarkan komen daripada mereka dan komen daripada respon daripada audience. Maksudnya audience itu adalah kawan-kawan mereka akan tambah baik training module tersebut. So nanti bila dah habis mock training, dan mereka akan buat satu evaluation tapi evaluation berdasarkan kepada reaction sahaja. Right, itu sahaja daripada saya. Ini contoh-contoh lah yang saya boleh share di mana the material yang pelajar buat, tapi this one online. Tapi bila pelajar buat secara fizikal sebelum pandemik, mereka ada buat macam material, for example macam kalau mereka conduct OSH punya training, mereka akan buat fire extinguisher yang alat pemadam api tu dengan botol mineral 1.5 tu, so dia buatlah alat pemadam api dan sebagainya. So lagi nampak macam real sebab kita conduct macam Dr. Hil cakap tadi kan, PGBL ni lebih sesuai untuk kita conduct secara fizikal lah instead of online. Itu cabaran semasa online lah. Okay, itu saja dari saya, moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Dr. Irma. Very interesting, right? Saya nak masuk kelas ramai lah macam ni. Nak masuk kelas Dr. Siti, kelas Dr. Irene, kelas Dr. Irma. Right, very interesting. Right, thank you. Right, so now let us hear from Dr. Qsina.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, loud and clear. Right.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sina, and I'm going to share about my project-based learning experience in my classroom. So, basically, the project that I applied in my teaching classroom is that I asked my students to develop a teaching material using technology to solve the English problem faced by the secondary school students. So, if you look at this project, we know that the student needs to design a teaching material using the technology because this course is about a computer-assisted language learning. So they learn how to use the technology to teach the language in a more effective way. And this course is a UG subject, is the TESA program, computer-assisted language learning. And this class involves 68 UG students. And the project that they need to do is the group project. So I asked them to build a team and they need to complete this project. So this is the project-based learning approach that I applied in my classroom. So the first step is that I teach some lesson so that the student can receive some input on how to use the technology in teaching language. And I teach about the theories, I teach about the concept of the computer-assisted language learning. So after they understand about the topic, they understand about the concept, and then I introduce the student about the project, which is the assignment that they need to complete. And then number 3, they need to form a working group. So the student will form a group about 4 to 6 in a group. And after that, they need to search for the problems faced by the student in the English classroom. So I suggested them one of the ways they can do is that they can interview the existing secondary school teachers. So they can like WhatsApp them or they can like call to the secondary school teachers to ask what is the exact English problem faced by the student nowadays. So for example, some students get that the teachers say that most of the students have the grammar problems. So this is the real problem faced by the student nowadays. So they identify the real problem in English classroom. After that, they start discussion and developing the project. The project is about they are going to design the teaching material to assist the student to master the language based on the problem they have identified when they ask the teacher. So for example, the grammar. So they will design the teaching material for the grammar subject, for example. And after that, they will present and apply the product in the real world setting. So what is the product here? Is the teaching material. Since this course is about the technology in computer assisted language learning, so I asked them to come out a technology which is the YouTube video. So they use the PowerPoint as a technology tool to assist them to design the material. So after they come out the video and then they upload to the YouTube. So this is the material, is the project came out from by the student. Yeah, and then they will apply it in the real world setting, which is the school. So they interview this teacher and then they will ask the teacher, is he willing to test this video in their classroom to see the effectiveness. And after that, they will receive the feedback from the teacher and they will refine the materials, which is the technology and the video. And lastly, they will do the reflection. So basically, these are the simple steps that are applied in the classroom. So this is the teams, the student, okay, they do the discussion in online when they are asked to complete the assignment. And in this class, normally they use the WhatsApp, they use the WebEx to meet each other to discuss and develop the project. Yeah, so these are the product, the materials come out by the student, if you look at here. So yeah, they upload to the e-learning. So basically, these are the teaching material that they can use in the English classroom. Okay, so next we apply this one in the real setting, which is the school. So the secondary school teacher try to use one of two videos in the classroom. For example, in this classroom is teaching about the adjective, the superlative. The students are confused about the adjective. They don't know how to use IR, etc. So this classroom, the teacher tried to teach the student about the adjective using the videos came out by the student. And then we get a feedback from the school teacher. So, but it's very simple way. We did not do a very in-depth survey. We just asked the opinion of the teachers. How do you think about this video? And overall, the teachers voice out that I think the video is not bad. I think some students really gain some knowledge from the video. However, we also received some negative feedback, which is the video is quite lengthy, for example. So from this feedback, and then I told to the student, in the meeting, the student received the feedback from me and they know what they need to improve in the future when they want to design the materials using the technology. And this technology is really applied in the real setting. And the teachers, who are very experienced and who provide the feedback are very beneficial to the student for the sake of the improvement. Yeah. So that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Q. Very nice, very interesting as well. Right? I think all of the projects, the implementation that has been shared here are all very interesting. And I think I'm sure our audience would have gained some ideas or some knowledge on how to use or how to apply this approach in their teaching, right? So we have looked at the implementation. Now let us listen to the experts on what are the challenges that they face in using this approach in their teaching. So let's hear from Dr. Shanti again. Dr. Shanti.
Okay, thank you. Okay. What are the challenges for me? Whenever we have a project that involves group work, so the biggest challenge would always be making sure that everybody in the group does equal amount of work. So there will be those who just have an easy ride, and there will be, in my class, because it involves the first assignment, they have to write it up like a journal article. Yeah, I teach them how to write a journal article, and I request that textbook evaluation part of the project is written up like that's another thing about the course that makes it real and authentic, because quite a few, in fact, a lot of my students have published their articles, some index, some non-index, yeah, they've published. So in that part of it, if there is no continuity in terms of how they write, then the article would sound a bit disjointed. There's no cohesion. So now that happens when there are group mates who don't collaborate. So now that is the biggest problem for me when I have a project-based activity. There are some students who are less active. There's some who take over, and then they will come and tell me so and so did not do anything, and I can see it in the writing. And sometimes because we do project work and it involves writing, they sort of like make it somebody has to write something, introduction, literature review, and then when we put it together, they forget that it's one piece of work. So it looks like 5 people's work put together like one assignment, and that doesn't sound or read well. So that is the biggest challenge that I face when I use project work. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Shanti. Yeah, I think that is a very common problem, common challenge that we have here. Students don't want to collaborate. Yeah. How about you, Dr. Zohana? What is your challenge?
Okay, I have conducted a project-based learning even before COVID and also during the COVID time. Yeah, before the COVID, I would say that the main problem is always about similar to what Dr. Shanti mentioned just now. I always get complaints, from some of the students. Alah, ni kawan saya ni kan tak contribute pun lah, itulah, inilah, so finally ada seorang tu kata, mesti boleh tak kalau kita evaluate kawan kita, insisted. So kalau dia insist tu maksudnya memang dia rasa dia dah geram betul lah dengan kawan dia tu kan. Okay. Dan kita buat peer assessment and what not semua kan. Okay. So far yang itu sajalah yang dia tak datang discussion, but during the COVID, it is even more challenging, I would say, even more challenging. I've tried it, and first because they are at their own hometown and houses, dia tak dapat jumpa, and also because of the internet problem, lagi susah untuk dia all nak get together and discuss, but eventually somehow with all the challenges pun they managed to come up with something, even though not as good as the pre-COVID punya outcome lah, product lah Okay, I would say the product here is actually their academic term paper. Itu saja. But another point, when it comes to project-based learning yang I find it very challenging is because project-based learning is considered like 21st century punya, like teaching and learning punya pedagogy kan, is to enhance their critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skill tu agak mencabar sikit lah, bit challenging for me to teach and to encourage them to think critically. Especially when evaluating the online resources, you see, yang tu quite challenging sikit lah. Other than that, selalunya is about the cooperation lah for the team members.
All right. Betul tu ya, Dr. Zohana. I think it is bila COVID, kita dilanda COVID ni, it is very difficult. Dengan banyak isu-isu dia, mungkin isu-isu fizikal macam dari segi infrastruktur, isu-isu emotional pun ada, psychological.
In fact, for the project basically, because kita pun tak jumpa dia in the classroom kan, if we meet them in the classroom, but of course betul lah, memang lagi senang project based learning ini is connected face to face, memang sangat betul. Kita boleh like communicate with them kan, show them whatever that needs to be done. Itulah dia, boleh personally talk to them. Yes,
that's right. So banyaklah halangan dia. Okay. How about Dr. Irene? Dr. Irene, what are the challenges that you meet?
Okay, thank you, Madam Moderator. I think the challenges of project-based learning is very connected to the actual benefits lah. So the element of project-based learning is one of it is the real-world situation, and I feel that also throws the student in a very it's an unfamiliar thing lah. So when you expose students to real-world situation, they become very they lack confidence to approach the project. They are fearful. They find it very, very challenging because they have never done it. All right, it's something that is new to them. So this is the main problem I have, but it is also the strength of the project work, because when students are challenged, they learn more. So going back to what Dr. Zuhana mentioned, the difference between project-based learning and any other project, project biasa, it challenges the students to think critically, to solve problems, to actually decide the kind of learning that they want to take on. So they are fearful in my class. They get stressed out over this project. And how do I help them is through having consultation. They are very structured consultation for this project. And because this is a mini ethnographic study, I assign the project early on, and we have consultation with them. And at the end, because it's very challenging, at the end, the EPP reports, the end of course reports, they will say that it is so challenging, but they really do learn a lot. And the second challenge, if I may, Ms. Moderator, is allowing students to focus on what they want to focus on, which is a very important element of project-based learning. It must be student-driven, the learning. So sometimes bila kita allow students to do this, macam-macam benda dia nak buat. merapu-rapu. Dia stres awal-awal tu sampai dah second consultation semua benda dia nak study. I cakap okay, ni 3 kredit je. You don't have the whole semester, you know. So what I do, one of the ways I guide them is okay macam ni. Remember the topics that we have learned throughout the semester. And sometimes I would suggest themes. I said, okay, let's just focus on how the players in this 3D community construct their identity. Contohnya lah, so kita guide them by reminding them what are the key themes that have been covered in the course. Kalau tak merapu-rapu, macam-macam benda dia nak include which is sometimes unrealistic. So I think the challenges is really related to the benefits of project-based learning, and at the end you see that the students really do improve their critical thinking, their communication, and the challenges is really part of what makes PJBL a very, very important and wonderful method. I think I stop there.
Okay, thank you very much, Rotary. Yeah, I agree with you. Memang betul. Kalau kita ni memang student ni memang suka merapu lah. I think you know that very true in my case.
If I may add, Puan Nora, when I ask them, okay, since other groups tak buat project, so which one do you think that you nak? Dia memang suka buat project. Dia kata memang banyak kerja. Dia kata ada some student complain juga. Kan kita get the reflection kan. We do reflection and ask the student too much work. You know, but a majority of them would definitely prefer to do project rather than in class, you know, face to face all the time dalam classroom.
Yeah. I think it's a different orang kata environment for them. It's a different thing. Benda something yang baru tapi at the same time dia takut. Right? Okay. How about you, Dr. Irma? What say you?
Okay, ada two main challenges lah for my course. Pertama sekali sebab mereka buat during the pandemic tu, mereka buat online mode training. So untuk macam psychomotor domain yang part untuk demonstrate dan sebagainya, mereka memang perlu berfikir secara kreatif. I do agree about the critical thinking and kritis. Dia kena berfikir. So, for example, contoh kalau dia nak provide satu training program kepada junior HR executive, dia nak buat satu interview session. So, kalau kita secara fizikal, kita akan set tempat interview. Ada candidates kan? Ada interviewer dan sebagainya. Tapi during the online mode training, just on the webcam, you play the role play. So, tak nampak sangat dia punya feeling sebagai role play tu. Itu satu cabaran lah. Tetapi kita dah kembali ke face to face, insyaAllah kita boleh overcome the problem. So the second part tentang kita nak invite the real respondent during the mock training sebab kelas adalah weekdays. So kadang-kadang mereka bekerja. Daripada 3 orang kita nak invite jadi seorang. Daripada 1 jam jadi 30 minit dia boleh join. So at least adalah mereka join dan bagi komen. So saya tengah fikirkan juga untuk this session sebab face to face kan. So nak invite tu bagaimana caranya? Adakah kita buat hybrid bersama mereka ataupun kita ada token untuk mereka hadir lah. So itu dua cabaran yang agak ni lah yang saya rasa sepanjang kursus ini saya conduct melalui PGBL. Dan ada juga satu cabaran yang macam agak kelakar juga bila pelajar buat 10A. Dia kata doktor semua strongly agree. Tak ada masalah doktor. Tak ada masalah mutasi. So pelajar pun kan kabut macam tu. Yang kata, oh tak ada masalah. Aduh doktor macam mana dia dah analyse data kan semua dan sebagainya. So saya kata tengok yang slightly disagree. Itu yang you kena lihat. So pelajar itu antara ni lah funny things lah yang kita dapat semasa berlaku ni PGBL ni lah. Dan ada juga pelajar yang macam tak dapat lagi macam kadang-kadang pelajar kita ni dia macam ni kan macam kelang kabut bila dia kena pergi ke organisasi kan sebab macam Dr. Aileen cakap tadi mungkin the new thing for them. So macam pelajar saya pun pelajar tahun 2. So bila mereka pilih for example supervisor kat Watson, Dr. Watson tu supervisor dia 3 orang je, doktor nak 20 orang responden. You boleh combine any branch of Watson. Kat Malaysia ni penuh banyak Watson. So tak ada yang mustahil. Itu antara ni lah antara cabaran dan juga pengalaman semasa conduct PGBL. Okay, just that.
Okay. Thank you Dr. Irma, betul ya, kadang student ni dia agak terhad pemikiran dia.
Yes,
Betul tak?
I think if you want to do project based learning ataupun problem based learning lah kan, you as a teacher, educator must be willing to guide the students most of the time. Dia memang akan come back to you, like ask a lot of questions, you know. So yang betul lah, if you do project, your role is as a facilitator, you know. You have to guide them. Kalau you rasa you tak nak, you nak let go saja dia buat macam then I don't think you can do project based learning. You must be willing to layan dia orang punya soalan-soalan yang tak berhenti tu kan.
Yeah, very true, right? Okay, Dr. Kusina?
For me, I agree with all the panels regarding the problems and challenges faced by us. For me, I think the most challenging issue is the time constraint. Yeah. So for the project, we need to guide the student one by one and let them know what is our expectation and what are the things that you need to do in the project. So I think the time is very not enough for all the students to complete the project, especially for the undergraduate students. And for my subject, it is about it is just 2 credits. So if I want them to, complete the project fully, I think it's very challenging for them. So I try to simplify the project. I ask them, as long as you identify one real problem, that is good enough. And as long as you divide the task in a team and everyone contribute to this project and you come out a product, that is good enough. So I want them to learn about the process rather than the end product, which is, maybe just one of them to complete everything. But I want them to divide the task. And then when we do the consultation, I ask, what is your role? What do you did? What do you do? And then what are the challenges faced by you? But most of them complain about the time. The time is not enough. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, very true. Right? I think time is always envy with us. Okay, Puan Ramona, right?
All right. For my part, dia punya cabaran tu is during the beginning of the part whereby they have to go and seek for one community as their group target. So I usually ask for 2. So what happened? If let's say one of them both accepted, it'll be beautiful. But then kalau katalah one of them declined, it's still fine. You are still the other one. But what happened if let's say both did not say a word, macam they took so long in order to somehow say yes, and then both just quiet or probably both declined until up almost like 1 month plus, right? So that would be the time whereby, in fact, we keep saying to them in the classes that you have to follow up, you have to do the follow up. You cannot just wait for them to, come back to you. So, but still, sometimes they just we understand, as you see this particular project usually involve a lot of work, right? So plus the other assignments of their classes also, we cannot deny that. So sometimes this one is a bit lag behind. So what happened is, what I did, I have some standby NGO or any organization that I have in hand in case, because they need to find a target group on their own. They have to work on that. In case worse come to worse, I need to help, I have to budge in, then I will help them in terms of like, okay, I do have this number, but you have to contact him on your own. Whatever need analysis and whatnot, they have to find out. So adalah backup plan in case things like that happen. Another challenge would be there are things that we usually have consultation, right? From the beginning till the end. We try to guide them as much as possible. But when it comes to the execution, there are times whereby things happen which is unexpected thing happen. Like, for example, okay, they have planned, all right, they're going to do activity 1, activity 2, activity 3. And then suddenly the PIC said, boleh tak cepatkan sikit? Lepas ni anak-anak ni nak attend wedding atau ada tahlil lepas ni. So which activity do they want to, scrape off from the chart or from their agenda? So all those kind of things whereby they have to, come up with a split second kind of decision really make them, become a more mature kind of person whereby, it's challenging for them to do something like that. Or even I got whereby one situation, kena tipu pula. They have a middle person who somehow overcharge them. Patutnya that mini zoo, they for only like 6 animals, they cost only like 300 ringgit. The middle person make it like up to 600 ringgit. So the person who's in charge kata, awak dah kena tipu dah ni. So that kind of situation whereby dia terpaksa approach the guy yang overcharge dia tu, gigil budak tu. So in that sense, I pity them because we are not there to help them, right? So it just so happened the girls yang in charge too for sponsor for contacting the person too is the girl. So okay, nak tolak that girl ke? So the leader somehow comes in, help the girl. So over there we can see the team spirit and how they can somehow come up with a very quick decision making. Those kind of things you cannot teach them within the 4 wall. That is something that they really treasure when they have this kind of project. They learn on their toes. They learn when they go and experience it themselves. That's the beauty of PJBL.
Right. Okay. Now, as the name pun ya, seperti namanya pun project based learning. So, bila kita mengendalikan projek ni macam-macam lah cabaran dia. We have so many challenges. Yeah, and as Forrest Gump said, shit happens, right? So kita belajarlah sama-sama. So I think untuk the second session ni I will go around the panel, the table, yeah. So saya minta setiap panel you just share with us, yeah, in one simple line the beauty of project-based learning and maybe a message, a take-home message for our audience, right, on project-based learning. Yeah, so let us begin with Puan Ramona lah. Yeah.
Okay. For your information, this particular course ULAB quadruple 2 have somehow discontinued, dah dijumutkan, and I think it's really a waste because they feel this particular course they overlap dengan the other subject budi penyayang, but now even tak ada pun dah budi penyayang elective course. So I believe this particular course when they do it this way using a PJBL approach, pelajar tu belajar lebih daripada yang they expect, yang kita expect in fact pun, right? So banyak benda yang dia learn, especially the empathy part, whereby budak-budak ni when they deal with the old folks, we can't teach that in this class, but then they learn how to macam mana nak santuni orang-orang tua ni, macam mana nak cakap, and they go beyond that, whereby dia boleh rasakan apa yang old folks ni rasakan bila tak ada anak, and then somehow they have this particular they learn that, oh, I wouldn't do this to my parents. I don't want to send my parents to the old folks. This kind of moral value yang kita nak instill ni tak boleh buat dalam kelas that easily, because it comes within, deep rooted inside. They learn it on their own. Itu yang kita susah nak cari. Even when there's one student who went to an autism center, masa they go there, autism, cancer patient, pelajar kita. So in that particular situation, pelajar-pelajar patient ni semua baru lepas ambil chemo, baru lepas ambil chemo letih. Tapi disebabkan ada satu pelajar patient ni pergunakan dia punya balon helium yang disediakan oleh pelajar-pelajar kita tu, yang lain semua datang. Tapi because of the situation whereby the students ada sediakan pelajar architecture ni, dia letakkan fluorescent building so dia bila patutnya dia kena arrange that blocks to become a building like KLCC, but then they somehow see the situation, they boleh adapt with the situation. Instead of asking the kids to arrange the block, dia suruh balik dengan bola je. So to accommodate to the situation is another skill, right? So to cut the story short, after that incident, they still communicate with the parents though. A week after that, there's one kid who somehow, I miss this part whereby dia have kan kita ni pelajar kita kan adalah how they say hello dengan slap hand lah, apalah, high five dia kan. So they did with this kid. This kid, the parents call our student yang in the group, saying that the kid passed away. And they had a good time when they did the project with our students. So it gave them a very, that feeling whereby we need to do this, we need to make them happy. So at least that few seconds or moment of their life, few days of their life, they had a beautiful time together. So we instill values in our children, in our students, whereby I think it's quite difficult to do that within that four wall. I feel that's the take-home message whereby I wish this kind of approach can be done in a more, not just this kind of subject, with other subjects, provided we have the time though. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Puan Ramona. Yeah, sad, but yeah, the students learn, right? And I think what comes from the heart reaches the heart, right? Yeah, I think the values that comes together with the learning activity, right? The process itself, right, is valuable, right? Okay, Dr. Irene.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Basically, 3 tips to start a project-based learning. Plan the project well, applying all key topics in the course. Facilitate and guide your students throughout the semester. Focus on the process and the students' learning, in particular critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and communication. And at the end of it, this is my take-home message for project-based learning. You as the lecturer or teacher in class will make learning come alive for your students. It is really true. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Irene. Such a sassy take-home message, right? Okay, Dr. Shanti.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, I really like project-based learning method because of the fact that it helps enhance the students' innate qualities, what they already have, what they come with, and the experiences that they have, and this enhances that. So because it is very much related to their own experience, it becomes personal for them. The learning is very personal. They enjoy, they're motivated, they're quite excited to see what they can come up with because it's so relevant. It's so real to relate it to their teaching, to their classroom, to what they're doing in the real world, that the thing is extended out of the classroom, but inside the classroom, they feel that what they're doing, they see the relevance, and therefore it becomes personal. They're happy to do it, they're motivated, they practice all the social skills, it enhances all those, IQ, EQ, whatever, all these skills are enhanced. And at the end of the project, they feel like they've achieved something really nice, something worth spending time on, and they don't feel like it's classroom work. They feel like it's their professional development. So I think that's what I really like. So making it real, making it authentic, making it personal, and giving them the opportunity to enjoy and take it back that they've done something that is so relevant and personal to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shanti. Very beautifully wrapped, right? Thank you so much. Dr. Irma?
Kena juga eh?
Kena.
Kena juga. Okay, I think PGBL facilitate our student to construct their learning experience. Daripada awal start, the process sampailah at the end. Mereka belajar something dan kita juga prepare belajar kita untuk participate ataupun engage dengan real situation. So nanti bila mereka graduate, nanti mereka tidak terperanjat, hopefully lah tak terperanjat kepada masalah sebenar di tempat kerja. Itu sahaja.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Irma. Right. Cantik manis je ya. Apa tu take home message ya, seperti orangnya juga. Okay. Dr. Kusina, silakan.
So for me, I think if we want to apply the project-based learning approach, I think the first thing is that we need to understand what project-based learning is. Yeah, for me, when I get the course information, I look at, oh, this assignment is project. So what does it mean? So I attended the talk by Dr. Harry to understand what is a project-based learning, and then I understand the key component in the project-based learning. And then I modify a little bit the assignment, instruction, the content and activities so that I can claim that it is the project-based learning approach. Yeah. So I think to understand the project-based learning itself is very important, and we need to be passionate to apply this one in our classroom and to help our students to achieve the learning goal.
Right, very good, very true, Dr. Q. So I think that in order for us to impart knowledge, that we need to be knowledgeable, we need to be passionate, and we need to, to make it to make the students involved in the process, right? And then hopefully that by involving in the process, they would be able to learn, yeah, to experience it, yeah, and then they would, nothing beats your involvement, ya, macam kita tengok orang buat karipap, kita tengok aja kan, tapi kalau kita sendiri buat karipap, kita tahulah macam mana kan. Susahnya ya, nak buat karipap pusing jadi karipap lain pula kan. Right, so itulah dia, I think perkongsian kita pada petang ini, I think it's a very fruitful session, yeah, and I would like to thank all the members of the panel who have shared their experience with us this afternoon. Ya, dan Dr. Zohana menyampaikan salam dia terpaksa pergi sebab dia ada kelas at 4 o'clock, right? And then thank you very much Dr. Zohana juga, dan terima kasih kepada Dr. Fauzi dan Dr. Hir, ya, yang berkongsi juga dengan kita sedikit maklumat tadi. So saya mengucapkan terima kasih pada penganjur, ya, Puan Ramona, dan juga kepada semua ahli panel yang meluangkan masa, dan juga yang penting sekali kepada audience kita, ya, peserta-peserta sesi kita pada petang ini. Sebelum kita tutup, ada soalan? Kalau ada soalan, boleh tanyakan sekarang. Panel-panel kita ada di sini bersedia untuk menjawab. Any questions from the audience? You can write your question in the chat room, or you can ask directly, right? Ya, ada soalan? Ya, nampak macam tak ada soalan. Ini macam masalah Dr. Zohana tadilah. Dr. Zohana ke siapa tadi yang nak dapat student participate ni? Senyap aja kan, right? So itu biasa, I think kalau saya selalu cakap dalam kelas saya, when you don't have questions, it's either you fully understood or you didn't understand at all, right? So it can be either one. But I think with the sharing session hari ini, today's sharing session, I think everybody has gained knowledge, has gained experience, and I think they have fully understood what we have discussed, what we have shared, and semoga sesi ini dapat memberi manfaat kepada semua orang. Dan sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada ahli panel dan juga audience kita yang hadir, yang sudi melapangkan masa, dan semoga kita berjumpa lagi, ya, di lain sesi pula, ya, seperti kata Dr. Fauzi tadi, project based learning group ini sangat aktif, right? And congratulations, right, to all the group members, right? And then okay, insyaAllah kita jumpa di lain sesi, and thank you very much everyone, right? And Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, Madam Nora, Dr. Irene, Dr. Shanti, Dr. Q, Dr. Irma. Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you to you too.